So it has been 1 week now testing out the all-new Dodge Charger. This one is the Daytona Scat Pack Stage 2 with the performance package, bumping out 670 horsepower. So this is basically Dodge's new muscle car. The V8 is gone. So the old RTs, the SRTs, the Hellcats doesn't exist anymore. This is the top dog for the Dodge muscle car. After a week spending my time with this, honestly, for an electric car, it has been a really cool vehicle to drive and play with on the day-to-day. So let's get right into 1 week of this, see what it's been like. Now, since we don't have a massive engine underneath the hood, this one is gonna get a trunk. I didn't end up using it at all. However, it's got a decent amount of space in there for maybe 2 lunch boxes or a backpack or so. So it's nice to see that there is some practicality up front. Also, up in front, you have this really cool R wing, which gives the vehicle better aerodynamics. Of course, it's going to be giving you less lift up front and a little bit less drag as well. So it's got some cool designs to it, and at least you do have that little extra storage up front. The trunk, however, has been awesome. One thing I really like is the power operated lift gate. And the cool thing is, this bumper is a lot easier to access the trunk versus the old Dodge Challenger or a Charger. So you have just a really easy entry point to just put a lot of big items. And while this dips downwards, I didn't really see that as an issue. I can fit large items in here. The storage underneath has been great for the Charger, and we have an inflator kit. You can easily push these seats nice and flat, giving you a ton of space. You could fit golf bags in here, a bicycle, snowboards. You can use this for household utility work and things like that. So this trunk I've really enjoyed quite a lot just because it has all the space you could ever need in a big muscle car. So it's been a heck of a practical car, and then of course with one touch of a button, it's gonna automatically close and just be a nice design overall. Now, driving this around town, this car turns some heads. I will admit it is one of the coolest looking cars out on the road. I brought this to a local dealer where I compared this to the SRT Hellcat, and like 10 of the employees came out and were checking out the car, and it definitely seems to turn heads. When I'm out and about driving, people are looking at it, staring at it. I did have a Hellcat behind me revving it up, taking a video, so needless to say, I'm sure they were making fun of me because I'm in an electric car. However, this car looks great, the color's great, the overall style really does stand out a lot, and I think as a car goes, it's a really good design for a modern muscle car. I think they nailed the design overall. Now, moving on to the interior, I think this is where Dodge once again just nailed the design. It looks great. We have carbon fiber throughout the dashboard. That makes its way into the door panel. There's so much carbon fiber in this car. You got it on the center, there's red stitching, there's Alcantara on the dashboard. We have contrast stitching, Alcantara on the seats with the leather, more stitching, ambient lighting throughout it, and you have a pretty nice digital screen. Turning everything on, it's the modern multimedia stuff that you're going to expect on the Dodge product. All nice, climate controls, everything like that. When you do go under vehicle for dashboard, we have performance pages that we've seen in the past where you can monitor gauges, timers, G-force meter, and then of course we can adjust our launch control. You can do donuts, you can set the car up for all that sort of fun drag racing, things like that. Now, within the drive modes, of course, everything is going to change as well, from sport, track, auto, drag, wet, snow, custom. There's a lot going on. But overall, this interior has been really nice to be in. Got the square shaped steering wheel, drive modes, you have power shot, which instantly adds extra power for a little while. So it is a cool interior. You got lots of storage. I haven't had any issues with just the overall kind of user interface with how everything works. Panoramic sunroof is also a great touch. And we have a nice Alcantara headliner. So now let's move on to the elephant in the room, which isn't the 6,000 pound curb weight, but is the sounds this car makes. So if I go ahead and put my foot on the brake and press the button, as you can tell, there are some sounds that this car makes. Now, not only did you hear that on the inside, but from the exterior, you are going to hear that rumble. That is right, you just heard me crank it up in an electric car and rev it in sport and track mode. And as you can tell, it makes some sounds. With that, let's do the remote start. Same sort of deal for that startup. So that is a cool gimmick. I'm not gonna lie, day one, day two, that was a lot of fun to play with. But as a car enthusiast, you guys know the cars that I own, there is something about the soul and character of a big V8, a V10, a turbo 5-cylinder, some crazy engine. There's a lot of fun factor to having a real engine sound. This is cool, but at the same time, who is it fooling? The car enthusiasts, they know that's not how an engine sounds, and the non-car enthusiasts don't care that you have a noisy car. So I've actually turned the system off and I just drive it in the quiet mode because to me it's kind of just a gimmick. It's cool, but at the same time, it's electric, it's not at all real sounds, and it doesn't actually sound like a real V8 rolling through gears or anything like that. Now another cool thing, this new Dodge Charger is really practical. I'm 5'11" and I can sit in the back seat perfectly. I love the panoramic roof. It gives the rear seat passengers all that lighting. And with the driver's seat at my height, I have legroom and footroom. There's heated seats, there's air vents. This is genuinely a good back seat. You could fit car seats in here, rear facing and forward facing, kids, family. Honestly, this is a really practical car, and that is something they did really nicely with the sizing. It's a big car, but you got the practicality, cabin space as well as trunk space, and overall it does have a lot to offer. So living with the electric car, as far as charging goes, this gets about 200 to 240 miles of range. I've charged it overnight just with the basic 3-prong outlet, and I've been able to get about 30 miles overnight charging it. If you do use the correct charger, you can get like 100 miles in 10 minutes. So depending on the charge situation that you have at your home or going to a charge station, pretty decently good at charging. However, the range isn't all too impressive. But it's a fast car, 0 to 60s, low 3 seconds. It's obviously a performance vehicle, not exactly a long range kind of car. But with that capability, it hasn't been bad at all, putting a couple hundred miles on this car in the last week. Now with those sounds in the auto mode, that is what you get for interior sound. Sport mode, it got quite a lot louder. And then track mode. Honestly, I don't know who would actually want to listen to the track stuff. This is just noise, like just speakers making noise in my head. So that is very annoying, honestly. Sport mode's not bad, a little bit more doable, but honestly the sounds, they get annoying after a little while to where I would rather not. In auto mode, it's not too bad, but like I said, I will just go under vehicle, and then you can hit the settings icon, and under electric drive, go to stealth mode, and it is quiet regardless of the drive mode. So for me, stealth mode is fine, just let you have no sounds. I think that makes more sense just because I don't want to be hearing the fake sounds knowing that it's not a real engine or anything like that. So just not a fan of the sounds. I know they probably spent a lot of time and money to make those sounds what they are, but I don't think it's going to appeal to the enthusiasts, nor will it appeal to just basic electric car fans who don't care about engines anyway. With all that said though, the way this drives has been pretty cool. Super fast. I love how you can let the tires squeal a little bit. So I feel like they have added a lot of character in the way this drives. Of course, with launch control, along with the drifting, the burnouts, the donut modes that you can turn this on, I feel like they have added the fun factor to where you can drive this like a muscle car and actually make some noise with it, real noise, squealing tires kind of noise. And you can just kind of do some fun things with it. With that, I do like the all-wheel drive. One of my complaints with previous Challengers and Chargers was the fact that, you know, the rear-wheel drive lets you spin all the time and you never really got the best traction. So with this car, you have fantastic traction. It carries the weight so well, and the steering is really good. I like how good it handles for weighing like 5,800 pounds. But it is a car that you can have fun with. It has massive Brembos in all four corners with 16-inch rotors, and they do a good job along with the regen braking. But this car can be driven like a fun performance car. And we'll keep the sounds on launch control. It puts everything into the loudest settings, and it basically gives you a depiction on exactly how to engage. You hold the brake. It does a little backfire on the fake sounds as well. But that's a cool feature too. It adds the fun factor, like I said. But overall thoughts, I'm not an electric car fan. You know, I like the V8s. I want this to have a V8 in it and be a real muscle car. However, as electric cars go, I think this is one of the best electric cars out there. I have thoroughly enjoyed using it, enjoyed driving it. It looks gorgeous on the outside, and the interior is fantastic. If this was the new Challenger / Charger, you know, if they made this a 4-door or a 2-door version, I mean, I think everyone would be absolutely pumped. The old Challenger was definitely showing its age. I believe we saw the concept in like 2006 or 7. That's a 20-year-old design. And the 2023 model year, not really all too much has changed in almost 20 years. So if they took this design and throw in a V8, a supercharged V8, give it a 6-speed manual available and the 8-speed automatic, and keep the EV, honestly, I'm not hating on this electric car. I think this is one of the best electric cars out there. But to be a Challenger, to be a Charger, to be a muscle car, we just want a V8. And I touched base about this in my comparison with the SRT Hellcat. Who is the audience for this car? This one's $86,000. You're looking at least 50 to 80 grand for a car like this. The average buyer of this car is not gonna be a teenager who may have grown up idolizing electric cars. I'm 31. Me and people older than me are the people who can afford one of these cars, and we like V8s. So I am very curious who is the audience for this, because the electric car buyers probably aren't really muscle car enthusiasts. And even in the next 10 to 15 years, I think the target audience is still going to want a V8 in this car. I think if this had a V8, a manual, all the good stuff, this truly would be an amazing muscle car and give the Mustang a run for the money, since the Mustang is the only V8 available. But ending thoughts with the new Dodge Charger EV, I think it is a great car. It really is a great car. Everything is just perfect about it. And I think they should keep the electric the way it is. This is a great electric car. I believe an inline-6 turbo version will be available. I've heard rumors about that. And then throw in a V8 too, and I think you will have an amazing recipe for a super cool selection of the new Chargers. So those are kind of my ending thoughts. I don't have any drastic complaints about actually living with this. I think it's a cool car. Just, I think a lot of buyers are gonna want a V8, and I don't wanna sound so hung up on the engine, but the power plant of a vehicle is the soul of it, is the heart of it. And a car like this is not about just practicality. This is supposed to be something thrilling, something exciting. This is thrilling and exciting for an electric car, but to be a muscle car, there is a difference. The soul of the engine makes or breaks it, honestly. So those are my thoughts. Comment below, what do you guys think of the new Dodge Charger? And if Dodge is watching, please give us a V8 and a supercharged V8 in this exact car, because this thing is sweet. And with that said, this is still one of the best electric cars out there. And of the whole spectrum of EVs, this is in my top 5 by far. It has been super cool, and there is a lot of fun to it. So that is it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content. I'll see you all in the next video.